Okay, if you wanted to solve this, it's an absolute value problem. To be able to solve an absolute value problem, you need to isolate your absolute value. So the first thing we'd want to do is add 2 to both sides. So we'd have 2 absolute value x plus 4 less than 10. Then you'd want to get rid of that 2, so we would divide by 2 to both sides. So we have absolute value of x plus 4 is less than 5. So remember, absolute value is distance from 0. So this is saying your distance from 0 has to be less than 5. There are 2 numbers that are 5 away from 0. One is at positive 5, and the other one is at negative 5. So, and this is where the visual of the number line really helps. Since they are saying here, the distance of this has to be less than 5. So if the distance is less than 5, you would have to be closer to 0 because those have a smaller distance. If the distance was greater than 5, then you'd have to be farther from 0. So on this one, we want them closer because it's a less than, closer to 0 than negative 5 and 5 is. So on this side, our x plus 4, these numbers, remember number lines always get bigger going this way, going smaller this way. These numbers are all bigger than negative 5. So on this side, we want our x plus 4 to be greater than negative 5. On this side, we would want our x plus 4 to be, these numbers are all smaller than 5, so less than 5. So if you solve both of those, you find that your x has to be greater than negative 9, and your x would have to be less than 1. So the number line helps you solve this with where your inequality has to be. But our actual answer would be negative 9 and 1, and it would be between those two. So any number between those two would give you a number that worked. So let's say, for instance, let's do negative 7. If we plug in negative 7. So negative 7 plus 4 minus 2 is less than 8. So negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. The absolute value of negative 3 is 3. And then 6 minus 2 is 4, and 4 is less than 8. So negative 7 does work. What if I was to try, let's say, negative 10? So that shouldn't work. So 2, absolute value of negative 10 plus 4 minus 2 is less than 8. Negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6. Absolute value of negative 6 is 6. And that's going to give us 12 minus 2, 10. 10 is less than 8, which is not true, which is why negative 10 is not in the shaded region. Okay, so that's how you would solve an absolute value problem algebraically. The part that students make mistakes on is remembering that it turns into 2 equations or 2 inequalities because there's 2 numbers that are 5 away from 0. And that with a negative, you actually have to switch the direction of the inequality. So look at how these were all less thans. This now becomes a greater than. And if it was the opposite, if these had been greater than, then this would have been a less than. Okay.